Hi guys, welcome to day 3 of your 5 math problem challenge given to you by your teachers on Google Classroom. And this is day 3. We're going to be doing 11 through 15 today. Number 11 and 12 are still simplify the expression, which basically means that we need to combine like terms and we need to get rid of the parentheses. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So just keep in mind that there is a 1, that's the coefficient, in front of both of these parentheses here. This one's actually going to be a positive 1. So that means when I distribute this to get rid of the parentheses here, none of the numbers are going to change and none of the signs are going to change. So I'm just going to rewrite that 4m squared minus 7m to the 4th minus 2m cubed. So we're good on that one. However, on this side, we've got a negative 1 in front of our parentheses, which means when we distribute that, the numbers are going to stay the same, but the signs are going to change. So this is negative 1 times 2m to the 4th, which is going to give me negative 2m to the 4th. Oops, I'm getting a little crowded there, my bad. And then I've got a negative 1 times negative 5m squared, which is going to give me a plus 5m squared. And then I got a negative 1 times a 2m to the 3rd, which is going to give me a negative 2m to the 3rd. All right, to finish simplifying this, we need to combine all of our like terms. So I just like to start the way we read, all right, from left to right. So this 4m squared, I'm looking for another m squared, another term with m squared, and that's going to be this 5m squared. They're both positive, so we're just going to add them together to get 9m squared. Okay, there's my 2's a little funky too. And I'm just going to go to the next one. So the next one here, our next term, is negative 7m to the 4th. And that's very much alike negative 2m to the 4th. So I'm combining negative 7m to the 4th and negative 2m to the 4th, which is going to give me a negative 9m to the 4th. And then I have these last two terms are actually conveniently going to combine together. Negative m cubed and negative m cubed, or 2m cubed, negative 2m cubed and negative 2m cubed are going to combine to give me negative 4m cubed. Okay, this is technically a correct answer, but if you watched my video from yesterday, we want to make sure that we write it in standard form. Standard form just looks nicer. Okay, and you're going to have to know how to do it anyway in the future, so you might as well get used to it. So standard form is where the exponent, the highest exponent is in front, so our highest exponent is this m to the 4th, so that means that negative 9m to the 4th is going to come out in front. And then we're looking for the next highest exponent, which is this m cubed, which is going to give us our next term, negative 4m cubed. And then our last term, positive 9m squared. All right, so this is our correct or our most correct answer for number 11. So let's go on to number 12. All right, same thing for number 12. We're just simplifying the expression, remembering that there's a 1 in front of those parentheses. If there's not a number there, it's a 1. All right, not a 0, a 1. So this is a positive 1, actually, and when I multiply everything or distribute everything to everything with that 1, it's not going to change anything. So I'm just going to be rewriting this expression that's inside of the parentheses. Okay. It's a little bit different for this negative 1 though. So when I distribute this negative 1 to everything inside my parentheses, it's going to change the signs, but not the numbers. So this negative 1 times x squared is going to give me negative 1x squared, which we can just rewrite as negative x squared. Negative 1 times 4x cubed is going to give me a negative 4x cubed. And then negative 1 times x is going to give me a negative x. All right. Now that we've gotten rid of our parentheses, we need to combine our like terms. So I'm just going to start left to right. So I've got 2x cubed here, looking for another x cubed term. Here we got it, negative 4x cubed. If I combine those two, I'm going to get negative 2x cubed. Then we've got our negative 4x, so I'm looking for another x term, which is going to be this negative x down here, or down at the end, and if I combine those two, I'm going to get negative 5x. Looking for an x to the fourth to combine with this negative x to the fourth. I'm not seeing any, so that means that that's just going to stay the same. Okay, nothing about that one's going to change. Same with this negative x squared. Not seeing any other things to combine it to, so it's just going to be negative x squared. Technically, that is a correct answer. However, our more correct answer is going to be written in standard form. Okay, which means our highest exponent goes first. Our highest exponent in this case is x to the fourth, so I'm going to have that negative x to the fourth out in front. Our next highest one is that negative 2x cubed. Our next highest is the negative x squared, and our lowest exponent, all right, is that 5x, that negative 5x. So this is your most correct answer that you are going to have for question 12. Okay, and please be careful. Just because that coefficient is a 5 does not mean it goes in front. Okay, it's going the highest exponent by the highest exponent, not the highest coefficient. All right, number 13 through 15, we're going to be solving the equation, which means we are going to be finding what the variable is equal to. So in order to do that, we need to isolate the variable. What a lot of teachers do, and perhaps you do this, is we put a line down the equals, right? What you do to one side, you've got to do to the other. I sometimes like doing an undo, a do chart over here, okay? So what is being done to R, we're going to write on this side and the do side, and then what we need to do to undo it, all right, we write on the left there. So what is being done to R is that we are multiplying it by negative 3. So to undo that, the opposite operation of multiplying is to divide, and we're going to be dividing by that same number, which is negative 3. That's going to be done to both sides of my equals, which is why I put that line there. So I'm going to be dividing by negative 3 on both sides. You may need a calculator for this part, you may not. Depending on where your mental math skills are. But this negative 3 divided by negative 3, that's going to cancel because that's a fraction that's equal to 1. All right, and 1 times r is just r. All right, so that's why it cancels, because it's equal to 1, and 1 times r is going to be equal to r. I'm still going to remember my equal sign right there. This negative and this negative cancel. All right, a negative divided by a negative becomes a positive number. So we're actually going to have a positive answer, which is going to be whatever 45 divided by 3 is, which is going to be 15. All right, if you put that into your calculator, you're going to get 15. So in this case here, our r equals 15. All right, and if I were to plug that back in, negative 3 times 15 does give me negative 45. Cool. Number 14. All right, similar situation where we're solving for x. I'm going to draw a line down the equals just to split the equals into a left side and into a right side, so that we know that we need to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. And I'm actually going to rewrite this one just a little bit. We actually have negative 1 plus x. Since addition is commutative, I'm actually going to change this to x plus negative 1, which is actually going to be the same thing as x minus 1. And that just makes things a little bit easier for me to go ahead and create my do and undo chart. Okay. All right. And what's being done to x is that we are subtracting 1 from it. All right. And that's the same thing that's happening up here that's happening down here. All right, that's what's being done to x, is I'm subtracting 1 from it. No matter how you write it, that's what's being done to it, which means that I need to add 1 to undo that 1 and get rid of it. So, unlike the other problem, right, I'm adding 1 to both sides of the equal sign. This minus 1 and this plus 1 equal 0. and x plus 0 is x, right? So that's why we get rid of it. That's how we undo it, is we're making it equal to 0 so that I just get x by itself. And then 6 plus 1 is going to give me 7, which makes my answer x equals 7. And if I plug that back into the very original problem up there at the top, -1 plus 7 gives me 6. All right, last question for today. Question number 15. We are still solving for each equation, and this is why distributive property is so important to remember, because we can use it in these situations. So I can still distribute this in order to get rid of our parentheses, and that's what I want to do. I want to get rid of the parentheses, simplify it, and then I'm going to solve for my answer. So I'm going to have 4b, because 4 times b is going to give me 4b, and then 4 times -4 is -16, which equals that -72. Now that I've simplified it, I'm going to draw that line down my equals, and I'm going to write my do and undo chart over here. Okay, do and undo. All right, so what's being done to b is that we are multiplying it by 4 first, and then we're subtracting 16. In our undo column, it has to be, so previously we've only been undoing one operation, now we have to undo 2. We've got to go in the opposite direction, which means we need to start with this -16, because that's what's being done last. And we need to change the operation, all right, to the opposite operation. So we're going to be, to undo this, adding 16 first, and then we're going to be dividing by 4, all right? So if you have questions about that, please leave a comment on your Google Classroom, and your teachers will get that to me, and we'll square it away. All right, so what that means is we need to get this going. So we're going to undo this, we need to add 16 to both sides. So adding 16 to both sides. Okay. -16 plus 16, that's going to give us 0. 4b plus 0 or minus 0 is still going to be 4b, so that's why we got rid of that 16 there. All right. Oh, there's my dog in the background. So now we need to add 16 to -72. Please be careful, because -72 is obviously a negative number. So when you are adding to a negative number, your negative number should seem smaller, okay? But it should still be in the negatives because your negative number is bigger. So -72 plus 16 is going to give us a -56. And again, you might have to use a calculator on that, which is totally fine, because, you know, not everyone has great mental math skills. Sometimes I use a calculator too. All right, so we've just undid by adding 16 to both sides. So now let's do this divide by 4. So on both sides of our equation, we are going to divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 over here is going to give us 1, and 1 times b is just b. So we got b over here, and I know my b's look like 6's. Forgive me, okay? And then -56, again, you might have to use a calculator. So -56 divided by 4 is going to give us a negative number, because a negative divided by positive is a negative, and then 56 divided by 4 is 14. So b equals -14. Okay. And there are several different ways to solve this problem. So if you still got -14 and you want to share the way that you got the answer, please feel free to do so. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 4. Congratulations on completing 5 problems. You're doing really well in the challenge.